Good morning, gang. Happy Thursday morning. Remember the good old days where we talked about canning food or how much bullets cost? Something like that. Those were the big topics that a lot of us in the community would talk about. It's like, okay, what's the harvest look like? Or, how do I can ground beef? Something like that. And, putting things away. And people looked at us like, you're nuts, right? And now all of a sudden you have the normies starting to figure out, gee, you know what? Maybe putting food away is a good idea. Maybe buying some bullets is a good idea. And we've moved on to the more important stuff is what's the cause, not what's the effect. It's funny because where we used to talk about food preservation and security and stuff like that, now we're talking about economic collapse and nuclear war. And not in the context of some fiction novel or anything, but in the context of everyday reality. I want to give you this. The news media sees that too, okay? And they're playing up on it as much as they can because they want clicks and they want anything eyeballs. That's what they're looking for. So the sensationalism out there is absolutely insane. Some of it is justified. Some of it, I think, is a little bit overblown. Okay. And again, this is my opinion. Not that I'm right all the time. I mean, I've said many times I was wrong on Russia going into Ukraine. Okay. I'm not Nostradamus. But I look at this and, yesterday you had all the panic for a few hours. Oh my God, Ukraine tried to send drones to blow up, to assassinate Putin and, blow up the Kremlin and everything. If you watched the videos and did any sort of research on it whatsoever, you'd find, and used a little bit of logic, okay, you'd finally come to a solution of probably not, okay. Mrs. P and I were talking about it yesterday, and I've been in the Kremlin, okay? She lived there, not at the Kremlin, but Moscow. And she made the comment, she goes, it was interesting because the drone came in from the east. Ukraine's to the west, okay? Then I was making other comments. I'm like, all right, you think about the White House and the no-fly zone over the White House, right? You're not getting anything anywhere close to the White House before it's stopped. This drone, the one explosion we saw, was right over the center of the Kremlin. You think that the protection, the air defense system over the Kremlin might be a little bit better than when it's immediately above you, okay? There are 3 major airports in Moscow. Major airports. You think they've got radar that would have seen something like this? Okay. There's a lot of things that tell me that this isn't what the media is trying to play it up to be. My guess, okay, is this was probably some group, individuals playing around, with our luck, what it'll be is some TikToker going, hey, let's see if we can get a drone up there and we'll blow it up right above the Kremlin or whatever it is and see if we can get a viral video. I mean, there's crazy enough people out there to do that. It could be separatists in Russia that are like, hey, we want to escalate this war. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit if the launch location from this was Red Square, which is right outside the Kremlin, okay? And the thing was literally in the air for 3 minutes. It went up, it went west to the crown there and exploded. That was it. Because if it came in from any distance, it would have been seen long before. Okay. So I'm just saying, don't freak out about this. It's like this is some international incident, which I'll bet you when it all blows out is something that's not as big as everybody's trying to make it in the media. All right. Then you get the whole deal on the economy, all right? And sure, there's a lot of crap that's going on with the banking industry, and we have a lot of reason to be worried. It is, we saw, First Republic go down last weekend. There's a good chance something happens with Pac West this week, okay? It got monkey hammered yesterday, and I mean, here it is, 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's down another 36% in the pre-market trade this morning, down at 408. So chances are either they get a buyer or they get a bailout or something like that real quick. Yeah, there's issues in the banking sector. There's no question whatsoever. Jamie Dimon a few days ago, this is about the last one. Everything's over. Well, that didn't age well, did it, Jamie? What did we all say? Don't think so. Your premonition lasted about 48 hours. But the other one that I know I stand out on an island with this one, that I don't see CBDC coming. Okay, I don't think it's feasible. And the funny thing is, you hear everybody and their mother saying, you have to get ready, CBDC is coming. All the people that said, FedNow is CBDC, it's not. Okay, I'll say that for the 12 millionth time. All right. Could it be a prelude to it? Yes. Is it CBDC? No. Yesterday, this was kind of interesting. I ran across this, and I'll link this below so you can read it. Kristalina Georgieva, who is a managing director of the International Monetary Fund, basically said, don't count on CBDC anytime soon, okay? She came out, and as the article says, she's warning that the world is heading toward a widespread adoption of central bank digital currencies without properly considering the risk factors involved, okay? And the big thing she talks about is privacy. And this is very true. She talked in there about last year, March of 22, that Biden had signed an EO to research and develop a U.S. CBDC. It's true, okay? She also mentions that, however, there's no formal plans to launch one, okay? She talks about Jerome Powell saying that if the Fed ever wants to develop a CBDC, they would seek the approval of Congress first, okay? Simple as that. Now, like I said, we know there's FedNow coming, which is as I said before, a bank-to-bank transfer system, which that actually makes a lot of sense, okay? That you don't have to have a 7-day hold on a check anymore or something like that. You take a check to the bank, your bank gives, the person who gave you the check, their bank gives the wire to, the money to your bank immediately, and the cash is immediately available. That makes sense to me, okay? I think that's a good use of this. But the retail side of CBDC is what she says is not there, okay? And I agree. She goes, talking about the security, talking about privacy, talking about the electricity. Again, all the same reasons we've talked about, but now you have a managing director of the IMF coming out and saying this, okay? She talks about de-dollarization, about the world going to a digital yuan or BRICS or anything. And I know this is talked about a lot too, but we've seen the U.S. dollar reserve drop. We used to be around 70%. Now we're around 60%. And I've said this to you guys too before, is you got to remember the euro is the second biggest reserve currency at around 20%. Okay, the yuan is 4%. You aren't talking a whole lot of competition yet. These are not immediate, oh my God, next week the dollar is disappearing, okay? The reason the dollar is a world reserve currency, or has been, is because the U.S. economy is pretty much the most stable economy in the world. Now, is that changing? Absolutely, thanks to the potato-in-chief and his minions in the Democrat Party who are doing anything they can to undermine the economy. That's the plan. They want this to go to some globalist crazy crap, and Joe wants his 10%, and what the hell he plans on doing. He certainly ain't giving it to Hunter's love child. But who knows? But, in the end, Georgieva, again from the IMF, says, in regards to CBDC, I don't see it coming anytime soon. Hold on to your dollars. She doesn't see that the U.S. dollar loses its world reserve currency. She doesn't see us go to CBDC. That does not mean we do not need to prepare for it to happen. But what we don't need to do is think, oh my God, or listen to any of these talking heads that say World War III is inevitable. It's going to happen in the next 6 weeks, or your money's going to be worthless in July or whatever. Plan accordingly, but do not listen to these people that tell you you don't have any time left. Okay? Yes, you still do. A broken clock is right 2 times a day. Eventually they will be right that we'll go to CBDC. I still don't think it happens in my lifetime. But, enough with the Chicken Little stuff as the sky is falling. I get all these people want clicks and views and everything like that. But when you start looking at the reality of it, and when you actually have people in power coming out and saying, don't listen to all the noise, take their advice. Pinball out.